We're back with some more MX versus ATV Reflex. Today, we're going to be checking out this custom track compound, and it has 7. Yes, you heard right. It has 7 tracks in it. Some of them are a bit longer, some of them are a bit shorter. This track here is a bit shorter, but then we actually have 2 tracks that are very, very short. Like, really short. It actually took me a while to find those 2 tracks because initially when I was playing this custom track, I thought there was like 4 tracks or 5. And then I did some exploring and found those 2 other tracks. So you'll see those at the very end. One of those short tracks actually is like a corners track only, you know, where you have those ruts and I mean, it's not just a corners track because it does have a double on it, but for the most part, it's a corners track. And here we are checking out the second track. There was 2 or 3 Supercross tracks, and this was one of the Supercross tracks. It was the biggest one out of all the Supercross tracks. It was super tough. I did a ton of laps, like a ton. It was really, really tough. I kept crashing, and I'm going to show you here. There's 2 rhythm sections that were just super, super tough. I could not do them. One of them's coming up here. It was really tough because you actually could send it for a quad onto the table, but it didn't really work for the rest of it. So you had to kind of let off a bit and then triple. And then I was double, single. And I feel like that probably isn't the best way through that section, but it's the best way that I could do it. And then this rhythm section was really tough too. I actually think, yeah, we jump over the table and then triple, double. But you can actually step onto that table, the first one, and then step over onto the second table, and that gives you a bit of a different rhythm through that section. So it's tough. It was really tough, but it was fun. And for me, it was the best Supercross track he had. It was awesome, actually. And I forgot to say the name of who the creator was. It will be on screen. It probably already was at the beginning of the video, but they did a fantastic job. And then here's one of the motocross tracks he had. Fantastic. This track, and I believe he had 2 other big motocross tracks, which we do show you. We show you all of them. I said it at the beginning of the video, but there's 7 tracks, at least that I'm aware of. 7 tracks. This track, as well as his other motocross tracks he has, they had kind of a different feel to them. Occasionally, I got a little bit of MX Warlord. You might not see it here, but on one or maybe both of his other motocross tracks, he has some really, really big jumps. It just is a fast pace, wide open, full send kind of track. This one, a tiny bit, but this track, it just like I was saying before, it kind of has a different feeling to it. I don't know. It has a great flow and ruts, and it has some rough sections, and just the way it was built, you know, it kind of, and this applies to the other motocross tracks he has. It has spots where it's very wide, but then it has spots such as here where it's very narrow. And then there's parts of the track that have weeds growing over it, just making it feel like abandoned, you know, practice track. But yeah, ruts, rough, flowy, really, really well done. I like it. I like it because it's different. I haven't played Reflex in forever, so bear with me. I know my gameplay is not that great. I was trying. Really, really trying, which is why this is a post-commentary, because as soon as I jumped into the game, it felt weird. Because we've been playing so much Supercross 3, it just felt a lot different. So I probably played, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half at least before trying to record laps for this video. So I tried my best, but for sure, if you happen to try it, you'll probably find better lines around the track and faster ways through it. He actually has 3 raceable versions of tracks from this compound. Maybe they're not from this compound, but he released 3 raceable tracks and then this free ride compound. I'm pretty sure the 3 tracks that are raceable came from here, but I'm not 100% sure. And I'm not sure which of the tracks he chose. I know one of them he was saying was a short track, like 45 seconds or so. So I'm assuming that's probably the first track we were checking out, if I had to guess. And I guess we're not really talking about this track. I know we haven't said too much about it, but this track was one of the 3 big motocross tracks he had. And then the next one you're going to see is the 3rd big motocross track. But this was probably the easier of the 3. And it was the track that kind of reminded me of MX Warlord. Just the way it was built. The big, huge, wide, send it kind of jumps. So really well done on this track as well. And then here we have the final big motocross track. This track was very similar to the first one I showed you, the first motocross track, because it was different, but, well, I feel like this track was probably easier, but it still had, it had a unique feel to it. It definitely, all the tracks, well, I suppose I should say if I were to play all these tracks individually, but you didn't tell me who made them, I think I would get the feeling that they were made by the same person, because they all have a similar feel to it. I mean, putting these, like, I guess kind of braking bumps. He has them on a bunch of the tracks here. And it's just something that becomes normal when you're riding one of his tracks, because he does it a bunch. And the change in width of the track, the ruts are really, really good. Most of them are really, really grabby. You know, you can hit them pretty fast, and they'll grab you pretty good. And then here, there's an example of the change in width of the track. Like, that corner was really, really wide. And then we get really narrow here. But you have 3 line choices. And then this track, this is one of the short hidden tracks that I found. I was about done with the video when I found this track, as well as the next track you're going to see. It's just they were hidden really well. So if you happen to try this out, make sure to explore the map, because there's at least 7 tracks. Maybe more, maybe other stuff that I did miss. It's a fun map. I mean, if you want to try all this stuff out, you gotta explore it. If you just want to do the raceable, I already said it. He has 3 tracks, I believe. Just like this section coming up. It gets so narrow, and there's a ton of weeds. So it very much feels like an abandoned track, a practice track, if you will. And then here is the final track. This is the track I was talking about at the beginning. It's only corners. There is a section in the back that it's a short rhythm section. But for the most part here, you're seeing it's just ruts. Now here we're getting to the rhythm section, kind of. Then we have a double, double, double. And then basically the finish line, I suppose. And then a wall. So there you go. That is 7 tracks from Wilson's Compound. This was sick. It really was. I mean, I haven't played a compound in a little bit. And it was fun to jump into Reflex, you know. I haven't played Reflex in forever. We've been on the Supercross 3 grind. But it was a nice change of pace. It just took a minute to try to relearn the game, you know what I mean? But that about wraps up this video. You guys and girls are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the support on the channel lately. It really does mean a lot. And until the next video, take it easy.